Okay, so the TRX squat to lunge. I like to do compound exercises sometimes, and this one is a compound exercise. I like to do compound exercise a lot. That's one where you use more than one joint at a time. It tends to simulate a real life movement more. Like, for example, squatting. We do this every day to get in and out of a car, in and out of a chair. Or lunging. Walking is a lunge. Going up and down stairs is a lunge. Okay, so these things simulate everyday life. Problem is, some of us just don't have the strength to do a full squat and a full lunge. Some of us have knee joint issues or hip joint issues, that sort of thing, that also prevent us. And if that's the case, you may not even want to do a lunge. You may not want to do a squat. You may need to do some other remedial type exercises before you get there. But let's assume it's just a strength issue and you want to work your way up to be able to do lunges and squats. Then an exercise like the one I'm going to show you here might be a good one, okay? So squatting, you know, if it's a real full squat, I'm down really low and my thighs are parallel with the ground. A lunge would be similar in that I'm out and my knee is hovering just above the ground and this leg is almost parallel to the ground. I'm on my heels in the squat, both heels in the lunge. I'm on the heel of the front foot, up on the toe of the back foot. And if I did have enough strength, and I was given a prescription of, let's say, 16 repetitions of the exercise I'm going to show you, and I didn't need any assistance, then what I would do is I would do the exercise without a TRX trainer, which I'm going to show you how to use to give you assistance. Okay, but in this case, I'll demonstrate the exercise and then explain each movement as we go without. Okay, so the first is a squat. You're going to step back and lunge on one side, and then lunge on the other side. You're going to step back up and squat again. That's one rep. Lunge after squatting, lunge after squatting, squat. That's 2 reps, etc., etc. Okay? Proper squat, proper lunge. Both of them require that I maintain a tight core. Chest separated, shoulder blades pulled together just a little bit. Head's looking straight forward. Okay? And I want my breathing is in as I go down, out as I come up. So I want you to watch for that. I should also, on the squat, have my knees and hips moving at the same time as I come down and straightening at the same time as I come up. I don't want to bend first and then bend at the knees. I don't want the knees to go first and then bend at the hips. Staying on the heels. My hips go backwards, knees and hips move at the same time, hips come forwards, knees and hips are moving at the same time. I breathe in, out, out. My knees are going in the same direction as my toes. Sometimes people are not strong enough or they may have a flexibility issue and their knees might flare out. More often in like that, at the bottom of the motion it flares out to come up, or you find that they kind of, they're unstable and they wiggle as they come up. Those are all signs of maybe a strength issue or a flexibility issue. Something would have to be resolved before you do deep, low squats. Lunges are pretty much the same thing in the sense that they work the same muscle groups, which is quads, hamstrings, glutes, but they're a little less stable. Okay? With a squat, you have your feet planted side by side. Center of gravity stays between your feet. You don't have the lateral instability that you do with lunges, okay? So with a reverse lunge, everything's the same. Core is tight, back straight, looking straight forward. Staying on the heel of the front foot, I step back, I breathe in, out. As I come up, in, out. As I come up, that's 1 rep, in, out. 2 reps. If I'm doing them facing you, you notice how I'm not wavering from side to side, nice and stable. I'm not like, ooh, okay? You want to watch for that. And these are all signs that you need to work yourself up to being able to do a full range of motion on a lunge or on a squat. If there's that instability or the swooping on the squat or the rotating or the waving back and forth on the lunge, I just want to pay attention to that. You also want to be looking for pain. in the knees and in the hips, okay? So I've shown you the squat, lunge, lunge without the TRX. I just want to make one point. When you're doing it, when you're squatting, your feet should be shoulder width apart, okay? So the squat portion, my feet are shoulder width apart. When I lunge, my feet are closer together. So I'm going to step up, they're closer together, and I'm going to lunge with the other side. Make sure that you step back into a squat position before you squat. Don't try and squat like this, okay? It's hard, right? You need more space for your adductors to fire properly. So, why would we use a TRX for this? Well, like I said, some people just aren't able to get a full range of motion. The cool thing about this is that if I hold on to the strap portion of the TRX, what I can do is change the angle of my body so that a squat becomes easier, lunge becomes easier, lunge becomes easier, okay? So the further back I am, like this, I'm trying to maintain a good posture, just like I told you, okay? The more I make the angle like this, easier it gets, okay? More vertical I am, harder it gets. Harder it gets, because now it's almost like I'm doing an unassisted squat, unassisted lunge, okay? As I'm leaning back like this, my upper body is taking a significant part of my body's weight isometrically, okay? The TRX is taking that load, and then my lower body takes less. So you can imagine that if you have problems in squatting deep and lunging deep because of strength and nothing else, you can systematically work your way up to a full squat and a full lunge just by 1 week choosing an angle where you can get the prescribed number of reps in, okay? And once you've done that, the next week, stand up a little straighter. Week after that, stand up a little straighter, 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 until now you're doing the prescribed number of reps without the TRX, okay? So it helps you work your way up. And you may never get there, and that's okay. So now you have a way of squatting and lunging like everybody else can without having to feel like you're missing out. Let's say you're part of a group exercise class, whatever. I do online group classes. A lot of people like to use a TRX so that they feel like they're participating in all the exercises, okay? So, squat, lunge, lunge. A lot to remember, but all you need to remember with the TRX is that the steeper the angle, the easier it is. The more vertical you are, the harder it is, okay? So you change the angle based on what you're capable of. Make sure that you're watching your depth, you're watching how low you're going so that you know that you're progressing, okay? You don't want to be shallowing out and then standing up straighter and straighter and thinking you're progressing when really all you're doing is you're just not going as low, okay? So a TRX, squat, lunge, lunge.